Welcome to Air Cargo Update. I'm Mohammed Irshad. Joining with us today is Tite. He is the Vice President for the Global Business Development and Commercial Director of Industrial Projects of DHL. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So let's have a quick conversation with Tite regarding the industrial projects upcoming in this region. Can you provide an overview of the industrial projects or the current landscape of industrial projects within this region?
Yeah, of course. Industrial projects at DHL, we're a part of our global forwarding organisation. In the name, you can understand that it's a truly global organisation. But within the Middle East and Africa region, that's how we cluster it. We're situated in all of the major hubs. So we have our own projects teams that are obviously positioned strategically. I think if there was a big takeaway from what we do, we have a presence where we need it, but importantly in projects that changes. Sometimes it's in a certain country or region, and then that might go away for some time, and then it comes back again. But what we've managed to really establish is quite a lot of stability. So we're here to stay. And if there was something that was of particular importance, it's definitely our investment in Saudi Arabia. So that's a big focus for us moving forwards.
What are the key sectors? I mean, like there have been the recent trends happening in the Middle East region, basically, which the market is booming.
Yeah.
And there are quite really, the need for the industrial projects in the region. So which are the key sectors you are looking into?
It's less about key sectors and more about market penetration as a whole. So what we've designed is we've got a structure where we look at, the energy transition is massive, especially to the region. It's a traditional oil and gas hub and it will remain that way for many years. So oil and gas can't be ignored. And it's a big foundation to what we do. But in terms of the energy transition, so yeah, renewable projects for which are a lot onshore in the Middle East and hopefully offshore in the future as well. And then also the expansions to create cleaner fuels. So as DHL, we're also a procurer of the sustainable aviation fuel, for example, and other biofuels. And I think that's where it really sort of connects and creates almost a full circle. So from our perspective, renewable energy, wind, solar, the transition, traditional oil and gas into more sustainable fuels. And then mixed into that as well, and as I said, incorporating Africa, there's a big mining focus as well. So yeah, it's diverse.
And as you said, for any industrial projects, when it comes to industrial projects, basically the main sector which we always speak about is the transportation of heavy materials. It's quite a hectic job for companies to do. So how do you find yourself doing it? Whether it is easy or you have your own fleets to do that, and how it is going?
Yeah, so we don't have our own assets. We don't operate our own equipment. We're a pure freight forwarder, so a service provider. I come from a background where I was with an asset owner, and I think the challenge is different. When you're an asset owner, you've got your assets, and they're yours, and that's great, but you've only got your assets. From our perspective, we've basically got access to everyone's assets. So the challenge for us is to really navigate using the best assets within the market, finding the right solution, and being competitive. So there's no point providing something to a client that might be the best solution, but it really doesn't align with their budget. So it's that balance of understanding our clients' needs, getting as close to them, or maybe even achieving or succeeding on those sort of aspirational targets, but doing it at the right cost level.
Can you explain some risk involved in this kind of projects?
I'm smiling because there's lots of risk, and I guess that's part of the value that we bring. If we were a mailbox, so we receive a request, we take it in, we push it out, we add margin to it, that's not a service provision, that's not giving value to anyone. We would be an unnecessary link in the chain. What we really try to do is to look at where the areas of concern are, and sometimes our clients also quite clearly pass risk to us. They'll say this is technically challenging, or perhaps we want to invest in this project and we know that the assets are out there, we could access them, but we don't want to go and speak to 10, 15 different providers and have all of those contracts. So that's always a level of engagement that we have. So really, when we look at risk, there's the operational and safety risk, first and foremost. So we have our own technical engineers. They're there to protect our people and those around us. We have environmental risk in what we do. And then ultimately, the other risk comes down to financing and contracts. So it's often that there'll be a disconnect in the payment terms that our clients want to give to us versus what we have to outlay. And in terms of the contracts also, some of the agreements that we would hold with our clients won't necessarily be representative of what we can get from our suppliers. So yeah, risk comes from all angles. That's why we do our job. And with the right consideration, that's the way we mitigate it. We really look at it and profile it and understand if that's an acceptable risk to us.
Slightly off the topic, can you explain something about cutting vertical of DHL, if it is possible for you to explain?
Yeah.
The fleet of operations, how it is going in Middle East, and where you are now, and what you are trying to achieve by 2030.
Yeah, so when it comes to trucking, as I said, within industrial projects, we're asset light. We don't operate our own vehicles. But within global forwarding, within the wider DHL, there's the road freight organization. And then particular to the Middle East and Africa, you have Saludo. So Saludo is an organization that really provides trucking solutions. So what they have is access to many different parties. And really what they're doing is they're shortening that supply chain to give the clients the real solutions that they need within the region. Again, so they don't have to go out to multiple parties. They can come to a single provider. And where there's considerable demand, so high volumes, sustained periods, what Saludo can do is it can provide solutions that actually take away that potential inconsistency of being reliant on one or two parties and then perhaps different people having different assets available. So it really does sort of make it a one-stop shop and says, you know what, that's your demand, we absorb it and we can deliver for you.
Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good model.
Before we wrap up this interview, let me ask one final question. I mean, given the complexity of this industrial projects, what you are doing, how do you ensure effective risk management strategies are implemented throughout the project? I mean, like the life cycle of this project will be never ending, particularly regarding logistics and operations as well.
Again, it's multi-level. It's if you're talking about financial, contractual, operational risks, they all have different areas of focus. There's different ways in which we can try to mitigate that for ourselves and our clients.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what we've invested in industrial projects are people from the industry. So there's lots of guys and ladies within our team, of course, that are from specific industries. So they might have come from a mining or an oil and gas background, or even like myself from an asset owner's background. And what that gives us is the ability to know how our clients and how our suppliers will want to act or want to interact. What could be an area of particular focus or opportunity. So really that's the way in which we try and mitigate those risks for ourselves and then pass the benefit forward.
Thank you for the interview, Andy. That was all for today.
Perfect.
So we'll meet you in the next event at Breakbulk Middle East 2025. So
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.